YouTube family. I am back in the bathroom for another day working on our bathroom renovation. And I just spent, I would say, almost 2 full hours completely clearing out all of the mess that I made restoring the clawfoot tub. I have just one more little step that I need to do on that tub before I can put the gold feet on. And I am so unbelievably thrilled with the bathtub. I can't even tell you. As soon as you walk in, it makes me so happy to just see how much progress the tub went from like how bad it was to what it looks like now. Oh, let's give a round of applause for the beautiful bathtub. We're gonna have all the bubble baths now just because we can in such a nice, fresh, white tub, gold faucets. Oh, it's just dreamy. But because I got the tub situated in the bathroom where it's actually going to be, I got really carried away. Today we were supposed to start doing the flooring and putting in the new throne in the bathroom. We're gonna backtrack a couple pieces of the wood flooring to be able to rectify the holes that were there from the plumbing for where the bathtub was in the middle of the room. Philip and I obviously just kind of had to put the flooring around where it was. So we're gonna fix that today. But in the midst of cleaning up and moving all the paint cans and sawdust and all everything out, I decided to roll out the rug that's gonna go in this room because I just needed to see how it was gonna fit, what it was gonna look like, and go from there. So I'm dying to show you just a sneak peek of kind of a vibe I'm going for. Okay, so I'm in the space. This is where the rug is going to go, centered in the bathroom so that the middle pattern fits right with the center of the bathtub. And obviously we're gonna have the gold feet. I need to put the marine paint on the bottom part of the tub still, but I've been allowing all of the proper cure times plus some over the past couple of days, doing layers to make sure that this is perfectly cured in between everything. And it's working out well doing it that. So if you are going to paint your own tub with the marine paint, I advise you to wait like 12 to 24 hours in between each of your coats to have the most success on that because it's totally working for me. What I need to do now is finish the marine paint on the bottom, put the gold feet on, and then this is the rug that I'm going to have in the bathroom. And I know that having a rug in the bathroom is already controversial, but I don't even care, so like go with it because I'm excited about having this in this space. I think a lot of the older bathrooms would have had a big vintage rug out in the middle, and I just think it's the vibe that I'm going for. I'm gonna have bath mats and other things in here, and I didn't pick anything that was too plushy that would take a long time to dry if someone happened to, get a little bit of water on it in the bathroom. But overall, I think we're all like grown, and this isn't gonna get soaked anyways. And I just love the way that it looks. The color vibe is everything we're going for in the house, and you might actually recognize this rug because I put the same rug, but the larger size, in the living room downstairs. And you know I have rug commitment issues. You've seen in the past switching out rugs and trying to get the right one. And I have absolutely loved it for the few months it's been there. And I thought it's on a totally different floor. No one is ever gonna notice. I shouldn't even have told you. Maybe no one would have even noticed. And then just coming up, it carries that same color scheme through, and I just love it. So why not stick with it if I love it? And it fits the space perfectly. It's right in front where the vanity is going to go when everything gets centered properly. The vanity is gonna get pushed back against the wall, but there's still plumbing to cut behind. So that's gonna give us another foot space between the bathtub and the cabinet there. And then we have plumbing that will go down into the floor here that will also be gold. That will match, the faucet that we did. So we still need to restore that and have Philip do all the holes to put that plumbing down into the under ceiling of the pantry so we can finish up that to be able to do the ceiling down there. So we're kind of like in the having to do a whole bunch of little things that are gonna make a really big difference really fast now that we have the tub done in the bathroom. Okay, so I had a completely different plan for today's video, but I'm really excited about what I'm about to tackle for the bathroom renovation. As you know, this past week the boys were all sick and Philip is now also not feeling well. So our plan today was to backtrack the flooring to rectify the plumbing for where the tub was in the middle of the room, and to put in the new toilet because this toilet has got to go. It is original and it is awful, and we are so excited for the extra tall height toilet that our YouTube family suggested. And so today, instead of doing the work that we were going to tag team together, because I kind of need Philip's help for some of the things. He's so good at flooring, and kind of doing the toilet I think will be a two-person job. We had to run and get some different things to actually fit that toilet because the height of the new one is taller. And so we ran and got everything that we needed. But I thought today, since I'm a one-woman show, that I would tackle this cabinet. This is a controversial decision for me, to paint the cabinet or not to paint the cabinet. And I'm going to show you why I've decided that I'm going to paint the cabinet. I know, I'm going to paint it. I was so sure that I wasn't going to, but I've decided, right, Finn, that we're going to paint the cabinet, right? We're gonna paint it and see what it looks like. The top is not perfect, and hi, I know, we're excited about painting the cabinet. Are you, Finn? Yeah, we're gonna paint it. The top of the cabinet, I'm guessing, had a little bit of a colored wax, or maybe they rubbed a little stain to cover up a few of the marks that were on the top, because now that I've cleaned it, I can see there's a couple little cup ring marks that weren't there before. And we haven't used the cabinet, and so those marks are from us. And so those are going to be so visible when I put everything together in the end. And so what I want to do is I'm going to give this a really good sand and show you how I'm going to restore this cabinet. Because I'm going to paint it, I'm not going to strip it completely down to bare wood. There's no reason for me to do that because that's just because I'm going to paint it. And so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do and what paint I'm going to use, and then we're going to protect it. We're going to just turn this antique cabinet here into the most dreamy bathroom vanity with a vessel sink and gold faucets, and it's going to be so beautiful when we're all done with it. You helping me? Yeah, you're a big girl. You helping, Novi? Yeah, you girls are so silly. Go on. Don't kiss the camera, Novi! And I'm going to use, this is 120 grit sandpaper, and I have 150 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to just see how that takes the top off. The marks that are on the top, it's just not real wood. I just know that everything is not completely real, and so to strip this down too much, I'm going to be kind of in a bit of a pickle. And so there really isn't any point in doing that, but we do need to scuff it to make sure that it gives our paint something to adhere to. So you can see why I have to sand this down really well, the whole top, because there's raised spots where some of the coating on the top here has come up. So there is a texture difference. If I didn't sand this down and then I put paint over top, maybe some of the paint would fill in those spots, but I'm not gonna get a really smooth texture. So we wanna make sure that those spots, you can see even just getting dust in it, you can see how much deeper that is. We wanna get that all done. So we're gonna make the top really smooth and then we'll work our way down. Okay, so I've scoured the cabinet. I use a little scouring pad, sandpaper. Once I do wiping, you really can't tell that I've done it. So I'm kind of just giving a really light pass over everything. It's going to help the paint adhere that much better. So you can already see where I've wiped and where I haven't. I'm going to make sure everything's really clean. So I can do a couple passovers, let it dry. A couple passovers, let it dry. It's really important in between all of the details that you make sure that you don't have any of the sandy stuff from sanding the cabinet, any of those little tiny pieces of varnish that we pulled off. We don't want them in the crevices because it can A, discolor your paint if it starts to mix in, but also a lot of the distressing or even detailing that you're going to do at the end is going to be affected by the fact that you didn't get your cabinet super clean to start off with. So prep is the #1 thing to make sure that this is a successful restore. And I have all these little circles that all have so much dust in them that I need to get out. And then before we get painting and prepping our cabinet for that next stage, we're going to put some cardboard underneath the legs, hoist it up a little bit. If you want to use a big drop cloth, you can. I don't usually drip too much paint, so I'm not overly worried about it. Plus I have really good flooring for washing. You can see just how much storage I will have in this cabinet when I get to the point of actually getting to put things in my cabinet. So much storage. So my plan is, you can see when I open the doors here, this center square here is the center of the cabinet. And so my sink's going to be centered with this space, and then the plumbing hole for my faucet will be right at the back, again, central to this spot here, which means my plumbing will go straight down the center there, right in a hole that I'll make in this shelf here, down through the middle of the floor, and it's not going to impede on any of the storage I'm going to have on either side of the cabinet. And so that's going to be a really good way. My original plan was 2 different sinks, and I was going to do drop sinks, and then I realized that I would then not have use of these 2 great drawers. And I thought, how great, my husband and I can have one, my sons can both share another one, there's even a neat antique divider in this one, and then we'll have room down here even to store other things, storage baskets, maybe towels. I haven't figured out exactly yet, but what we're going to do is have all that space for storage, which I think is great because in an old house, oftentimes there isn't a room or a closet space for linens. And so we can make use of at least the bathroom linens in this space. Since we like to keep things pretty minimal, we don't have millions of towels, millions of face cloths. We have just enough for everyone. It's easier to keep up with laundry that way. And then everything's always just clean in the cabinet when you need it. So this week you saw that I painted our bathtub and that I used a tub and towel kit and then had to backtrack and ended up using marine paint to be able to coat the tub. And so it got me to thinking of a couple of things. I know, because there's 4 of us in this house, and this is not going to be a countertop that can absorb water and not, just get destroyed if something wet, like a cup that you put your toothbrushes in, or even just a wet toothbrush down, or a wet face cloth, or a soap that drips or something, that even if I did a lot of coats of a clear satin poly or something like that on the top, it's really not going to be that durable. And you know that after, years of probably having kitchen tables or hall cabinets, that it just doesn't really last that long. So it got me thinking that what if I did the top of this in the marine paint? It is an identical color match to the paint that I'm going to use on the bottom. I just want to make this cabinet white, and I plan to do all of the distressing on all of the really beautiful details of this cabinet. And so if I'm going to paint the top white anyways, why would I not use the marine paint on the top and have it be extra durable, not ever have to worry if something wet gets left on the top? So I think this is a pretty bright idea. I know that some people's design choice would be to have a wood stain top and then white on the bottom, but it's just not the look that I'm going for, and so I think I'm just going to do completely white, and I'm not going to distress the actual top part. I could do a little bit on the edges if I want along the ribbing here, but the top part, I definitely want to have the marine paint. I'm going to do a few coats. The only difference with the marine paint I found is it's a little bit smelly, so I'm going to paint with a mask on, open the window. It's really not that bad. It isn't as bad as I thought that it would be, and it was certainly better to use than the tub and towel kit. That was the worst smelling stuff ever, and it filtered through the whole house no matter how much you block the smell in. So that's the only difference I found, and the dry time for a house paint, usually it's dry to the touch in maybe an hour or 2. The marine paint was definitely the 4 to 5 hour mark, and you should do a coat maybe only after every 8 hours or so. So perhaps the top's going to take me a little bit longer using the marine paint, but I think it's going to last me that much longer. So I'm going to do the marine paint first, and then I'm going to use my traditional paint that I would use to be able to paint a cabinet on the bottom, and I'll show you that too. So this is the Beauty Tone marine paint that I'm using for the top, and I'm not going to put a ton in here. I'm going to work with a roller and a brush. The brush is to get into some of my fine details of that cute ledge at the back, and then I'm going to roll all the flat surfaces with the roller. And again, it's going to be one coat until I can work my way down. You can see that I have the top all completely sanded and I'm ready to apply my paint. And so this is the areas I'm talking about where I want to use the brush first, just all into those seams, and then I'll be able to roll flat with the actual roller on the top part. Okay, so I have my edges done and the back done, and I'm about to roll the top, and I'm just using one of these lint-free rollers. I use these for everything. And I'm working with thin coats. I would rather have to do more coats than do a thick coat and then have any raised edges or any dripping that I don't see. So we're applying thinly. You want to make sure you watch any of your edges, that your roller doesn't leave any drips on the sides. This is the marine paint. I've got it on really smoothly. Once I roll it all on, I took the roller and went from one end to the other, back and forth nicely, just to make sure I didn't have any of the separations, like from doing one section and then one section and one section. I just made sure it was really smooth. Now I'm gonna go do my base coat on the bottom here, and I'm gonna show you what paint I'm going to use. So typically when I would restore a piece of furniture, I would remove all the hardware, all the hinges, lay everything outside, paint one side, let it dry, flip it over, go back and forth, and then be able to reinstall it. This cabinet is so old, and I don't think if I take these very inset hinges off, then I'm gonna be able to get them into the right spot. I'm not gonna paint them. I wanna leave the hinges so I can see the hinges. And then the handles, some of the pieces that are from the back side, if I take a few of these off, I may not get them back on. And so I'm just gonna leave them and carefully paint it. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna use here. I'm going to use Beauty Tone. It's a velvet. It's just a high white. It's the white that I use for everything. I absolutely love it. I never change my mind. It's never the wrong shade in certain light. Doesn't look yellow, doesn't look browny. It just is honestly the perfect white, and it doesn't have like a bluish tinge to it either. So I just think that overall it's worked for us throughout the rest of the house, so why change up what I'm doing now? I think what I'm gonna do is work from my top down. That way I'll be able to open up each of the doors and just leave them open if I'm gonna work with them. I can open these enough. They are even hyper extend open to be able to paint in here properly. I'm not going to paint the inside part of the cabinet here, but I am going to paint the sides and the back of the doors. I'm going to make sure everything looks really clean. And then I think I'm going to look for some really neat sort of vintagey style wallpaper, or paper that I can put maybe line on the inside just so it has some character when you open it, but I haven't found the right stuff yet, so that's no big deal. I'll look for that as we go, but I'm going to put on my first coat. And again, first coat is going to look terrible and you're going to want to abort mission, but don't worry, hold up, it's going to look great in the end. I think I'm gonna need 3 coats. So there's gonna be some drying time in between, and I think as I go, it's just gonna look better and better and better. And the final look of this will look absolutely amazing when I get to do the distressing on it. I'm not gonna do like chunked out distressing like back in the day. I'm just gonna do some light edging on some of the really beautiful details on this, bring it a little bit into like a 3D form, and that's it. I don't want to do, you know, chippy distress. I just want to do like it's been used a little bit, that kind of a look. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna use the brush for most of it. On the flat spots on the sides, maybe a little bit on the doors, I can use the roller, but I'm gonna stick with the flat, with the brush just for the first little bit anyways. So far, this is where we're at. Here is the first glimpse of the very first coat. So you can see what I mean by when you do the first coat, how it just doesn't look that great, but you can get the vision on how this is really gonna bring out a lot of the detailing when I do get my other coats on. You can also see that I'm a really good color match between the top and the bottom, even though I use 2 different types of paint, and that's just with the first coat. So once I get the bottom coats on and that darkness stops coming through the white paint, I think it's gonna be so amazing. My top coat is pretty tacky. Like I said, the marine paint takes a lot longer to dry. And the bottom probably be dry in an hour or 2, but I wanna leave it in between as long as I possibly can and then do my next coats. Okay, so I have some really fun news. One of our YouTube family members, she was able to contact me. I don't know how she figured out how to contact me, but she did. And she sent me some amazing news. She sent me a message saying that she has some claw feet for my tub that look like claw feet. She sent me a cute video of them and she's going to mail them to me. So I'm going to hold off today and not put the feet on my tub. I'm going to do my last coat of marine paint along the bottom that I was waiting to do. Then I'm gonna wait for her claw feet for my tub to come in the mail. And then I'm gonna make them gold and put them on. I think that's so fun to have something from one of our YouTube family members. She said she picked them up at a yard sale years ago, maybe 25 years ago, and knew that one day she would find the perfect project for them, and that she thought that this was that perfect project that the claw feet were waiting for. So thank you so much. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be an amazing addition to this bathroom and I cannot wait. So I think that that's all the time that I have today. I'm going to wait and have that dry. Boys should be home from school anytime. And I've got a bunch of people here to take care of, but everyone's not feeling that great. Fingers crossed I'm not a few days behind everyone and I can get this bathroom finished before that hits me. But so far I feel okay.